We are joined for this pay-per-view with Mike Salem, who was in last week, but now he's here in a personal capacity.
Yeah, well,
now, before we start, you are a Syrian Christian.
I am.
Bullied out by the regime, at least in part?
It's very complicated in Syria, but minorities always struggled in the Middle East.
You just didn't feel welcome.
Well, I mean, you know, Christians have always sadly been persecuted in the area, even though we've been there for, you know, 2,000 years.
The Middle East was all Christian, basically, wasn't it? Look at the Coptics and all, and then basically got taken over. Not a lot of people know that. It was mainly Christian.
Indeed, it started all off in Jerusalem and then in Antioch. That's where the church first began, and that's where, you know, Paul had his conversion on the road to Damascus, as everyone knows very well.
Absolutely.
And he fasted there for 3 nights, and then he was healed by Ananias, and then he escaped.
So he ate in the days?
Well, 3 days only, not like Jesus.
So he just at night he didn't eat? It's not that hard, is it?
So just, I mean, look, you are here for the pay-per-view.
Yes.
But I get incredibly frustrated when we hear about Israel in the Gaza Strip. You know, obviously, any full-scale invasion of a territory will involve civilian casualties, and that is a terrible thing. We hear nothing of the genocide against Christians by Islamists in the Middle East. We are not interested in reality, are we?
It depends what grabs these headlines, sadly, nowadays.
No, but we've got. I mean, there've been more people killed in Syria than have been killed in Gaza, and yet there will be no protest against Islamists in Syria.
Look at Bethlehem. I mean, the home of Christianity, really. That's where he was born, wasn't he? I mean, that was under Israeli control till not that long ago. Was 80% Christian. It's now 10% Christian. I mean, and that's been replicated across the whole, and in Nigeria as well. There's a lot of it, and the Western world doesn't seem to care about their Christian sort of brothers at all, do they?
Well, we need to stick up for our values. I think we've forgotten what we stand for as Western countries, and I think as soon as we remember that guiding star, hopefully, I'm praying that the West would look out for their Christian brothers.
How easy is it to be a Christian in the Middle East? I mean, are you harassed day to day? Is it? I mean, what's it like? Just because you've got to remember, most people, whilst we are of the same religion, you and I, highly unlikely that most people in that religion have even been to the Middle East, let alone have any great knowledge about what it's like to be a Christian over there.
Well, exactly, and the Middle East is very diverse, so it depends where you are. If you're in Lebanon, it's a majority Christian country, mainly Maronites. If you're in Syria, I was one of the 2% of the population that was Catholic, so it's completely different. And sadly, you know, this year the Easter celebrations and the Holy Week celebrations did not proceed because of attacks on Christian minorities. So that's very sad and that's very tragic when actually usually we do very big celebrations. It's remarkable
though, isn't it? Because if there was a threat to Ramadan in Britain, we would be castigated globally for being incredible racists. Yet in Syria, a former Christian country, it doesn't matter, it's all fine.
Why are we backing the Taliban leader, basically, wasn't he? The guy's now why he puts a suit on and, you know, ties himself up a bit, and now they're all fawning over him.
Exactly. I think the position is very inconsistent by the West. One moment he's very wanted and £10 million on his head, and now all of a sudden he's welcomed in. So I think that's the West's fault, I'm afraid to say. We haven't been very consistent, very weak. We haven't been very consistent on where we stand. And if we actually respect human rights and fundamental human right law and, you know, respecting freedom of religion, then we need to do better in calling out
what we will do in London, it seems to me, is to say the genocide against the Christians in the Middle East is a price worth paying to not offend the Muslims in Britain, and the attacks on Jews in Britain is a price worth paying to not offend the Muslims in Britain, because at the end of the day, Muslims vote, and if you look at Tower Hamlets, many of them vote twice. No, I'm joking. But the reality is, shut your mouth about attacks on Christians, shut your mouth about attacks on Jews, otherwise we will not vote for you.
Yeah, but the reality there is we saw what happened in Iran. Basically the Islama left collaborate, and then they get power, and the left are all murdered. I mean, this is the playbook.
Yeah, the coalitions, the way they work in the Middle East is completely different, and, you know, the reason why Assad was overthrown is because everyone agreed that he had to go out, and, you know, you can agree with that, of course, but the problem is that was the only coalition holding it all together, and now he's out, You actually are exposed to the range of opposition there, which is
Civil war,
which ranges from Salafists to actual moderates who want democracy to, you know.
But the moderates never win, do they? Because they're not as mad as the nutters with the Kalashnikovs who'll blow themselves up. So ultimately, the more crazy they are, they're the ones that win, even if they're only 5%.
Yeah, and that's why you have to keep on fighting. And
the impression we get is there is a fundamental weakness in Muslim society, and that is an unwillingness to criticise people within the Brotherhood. And so therefore what happens is the biggest crazy stands up, says the craziest thing, and nobody has the guts to tell him.
Some mosques do throw them out, though. There are some brave ones who
yeah, and this is the thing. I mean, I'm very proud to be a Christian, and I'm very, you know, privileged to have been born a Christian. I think that's one of my great life's lotteries, because, you know, our faith is very open. We stand up to scrutiny. People can criticise. And
what was your family? I mean, you say you're Catholic. Were you originally maybe a Coptic Christian, and then you got converted? How did your family become Catholic?
No, we were all Catholic always.
Yeah, but there must have been a time when you weren't.
No. You could be historically Catholic for 1,000 years.
You might have been 1,000. Where was it? Where do you know?
Yes. Well, I haven't traced it as far back, and I'm a bit worried that I won't be able to trace it as far back because of the revolution. Everything's been torched. But you know, originally it was all Christian, and then the Great Schism happened in 1056, and that split the Catholics and the Orthodox, and then a bunch of Orthodox decided to go back to the Greek Catholic sect in around 1800s. So that's where I come from. They're called the Melkite Catholics.
Oh, the Melkite Catholics.
Indeed. So that's the background, and I come from that particular denomination.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because in this country, I remember when I was a kid and I first saw Middle Eastern Christians, because you brought up in this country and you think that Christians are all like songs of praise, you know, all white people, and you go and see that, and they're sort of like, you know, wearing all costumes, and they're dark-skinned, and obviously the original Christians were like that, whether from the Arab lands and the Middle East.
Well, the beauty about Christianity that it is universal, so you see different people worshipping in different ways, which is why I love going to churches when I'm travelling, because I want to see how different people worship, and you know, it's all the common denominator of, you know, loving Christ, and Christ spread his message through love, not through conquest, and I think that's very important to note.
You've just.
That was beautiful.
Do you know what he's just done? He's just been gently rude to the Prophet Muhammad, hasn't he?
Anyway, look, we're going through the papers, and a lot of it is Burnham making.
I want to start. Why don't I start?
You start then.
I'll start with the Daily Mirror, and I'll tell you why, because it's got the pictures of the runners and riders. So just to remind you, at this time, Wes Streeting has resigned as Health Secretary. Andy Burnham has got the MP for Makerfield to resign, and Angela Rayner has announced that her legal problems are over.
They're not, though, apparently.
And the taxman is no longer after her.
Which is very odd. I mean, her tax deal doesn't stack up. Apparently, I was reading in the Telegraph, the tax experts are saying, well, this is unheard of. If you make a mistake and it's carelessness, which this seems to be, you do get a fine. The only way you wouldn't get a fine is if your advisor actually said you didn't need to do that, and the expert was wrong. But her expert said, we're not experts on that, you need to go and seek it. And she got 2 letters from that, and then she said that she did get advice from them saying it was all right, and the actual lawyers issued I remember in the papers, because they were sort of damaging their reputation, they said no. So she's lied at that point, and yet it's a sort of 2-tier tax system, isn't it?
It's all very inconsistent, right? And you can't, you know, preach something and do something else. At any rate,
she does that a lot.
At any rate, yeah. Without
Mike Salem, though, let's be honest.
Yes.
Labour leadership election too close to Kerr.
No, I mean, exactly. You know, it's. I mean, are any of them impressive?
No.
You know, people, and you know, funny enough, I saw some polling, and I think Starmer does well in comparison to all of them, except of Burnham. I think Burnham's the only guy who beats Starmer at the moment. So.
Yeah, so Wes Streeting is Mr. Popularity because no, Andy Burnham's Mr. Popularity because 25% of voters believe he'll do a good job. Wes Streeting is next with 10%. Wow!
But you know what happened to the Labour Party is, I mean, Burnham is
about as popular as a poo in the swimming pool.
Well, yeah, and Burnham is the last sort of lot of the old school, because when Corbyn took power, a lot of the talent they all just left. They thought, I'm not staying with this, so now they've been left. That's how Starmer came in. That's all these talentless people came in, and Burnham is from the old school at least, is the one that's sort of in the lead. Do you think he'll get the keys? Do you think he'll win the? He's obviously got to become an MP, but do you think he'll end up being PM?
But that's the tricky bit. I mean, is he going to be PM? Is he going to be MP in the first place?
We don't know.
I think I was listening to LBC earlier today, and
what?
Never heard of
polling.
So you actually like LBC?
No, he didn't say that.
He didn't say James O'Brien. He's the world communist.
No. I was listening to Andrew Marr actually, and he was saying that I think, according to him, polling is 41% at the moment for reform in that particular seat, and Labour's on 28. So at the moment, Burnham won't even get in as an MP, and that will be very damaging for Labour, because if they lost elections under Starmer and Burnham couldn't even get in, then what does the Labour Party have to offer to win?
And just to remind, because people are wondering where Makerfield is, and this goes out to repeat in the morning, just to remind people, there is no landmark in Makerfield. It's in between two towns. Its nearest thing, which is not in the constituency, is Haydock Racecourse. So think about it on the M6, on the M62, that sort of area. But it is in between. The good news about Makerfield, by the way, for everyone who is political, it has both a Wetherspoons and a KFC. Now I will tell you, when you are going out politically campaigning, knocking on doors for a week, those two facilities are absolutely vital. So that is the good news.
Good sustenance.
Yeah, that's right.
But but at any rate, they are going to be the people who might decide the fate of the country. Those 70,000 people, because if they vote Burnham in, then it'll be a procession for him. He can say, look, I've been able to defeat reform.
Yes.
I've been able to turn the tide. If you give me the keys to Downing Street, I might try and change the Labour Party. But on the other hand, if he doesn't get in, I mean, Starmer might be in a more stable position, but it's going to be a very difficult brainstorming session for Labour to try and think, well, what next then? Because Burnham hasn't got in. We have to stick with Starmer. And what do we tell the public?
And what is going to be really interesting about this is that, and I think there's some bravery and gumption by Burnham here, by the way. The local election results, so the polling is different to the local election results. Local election results say 50% Reform, 27% Labour in Makerfield. Nigel Farage will hit the kitchen sink at this election. And so, I mean, the former MP for Lee, James Grundy, was saying to me, look, Farage is going to spend a fortune. It's going to be like, either attempt to win in Makerfield or personally fund Britain's independent nuclear deterrent, right? It's going to be absolutely massive. But if Burnham wins in Makerfield, he can say, with credibility, I've taken a Labour seat where nobody's voting Labour anymore, and I've beaten Farage. And that does make it a shoe-in, as you say.
Exactly, and if he says, I can do that, I can try and do it with the entire country. But the other important thing is, I feel this is a very tricky ground to be on, because it feels as though they're taking the voters for granted.
They're being used.
Right? So, if one Labour MP steps down, we're just going to get another
You
Labour
just
MP.
be good voters and put us in...
Indeed.
I've got to be honest with you, I don't think...
them on the head.
I think... I would say this. I think that Burnham is more likely to win Makerfield than the Reform candidate, but I would only say that. I would not say he's guaranteed to win. Not at all.
People like it, they might be voting in a potential leader. I mean, that helps Farage. I mean, Farage obviously has got these problems today about his £5 million donation and the 1.3 million
gift.
It was a gift, a reward for Brexit for 27 years.
No. People misunderstand this £5 million gift. Nigel Farage was not a member of Parliament. He was not in operational control of reform. He wasn't a politician. The £5 million was to pay for his security costs, because idiots out there, thanks to LBC's James O'Brien, are trying to kill him.
And the big story there is the government are disgraced, because he's in the lead of the polls. He's likely to be the Prime Minister. If there was a vote now, he would be, and it's a disgrace, because it's part of our thing that you're meant to put the full security with the potential leader. You do it with the leader, the opposition leader, because they're likely to be Prime Minister. Of course, they're doing this for a reason. It's all about you know, he's a political enemy, and he needed. And by the way, he would have had 1.3 million in his bank account anyway. He's been doing speaking tours before he got into politics and helping Trump out. So I think it's all a bit of an unstory. And as he says, it's like Trump. The people, it will actually make him stronger. This sort of lawfare, like it happened to Trump.
What worries me, Mike, and I don't know what you think about this. My worry is that the House of Commons authorities will try and suspend him in order to cause a recall by-election.
They'll try everything.
I wouldn't. Depends. I mean, obviously, that's very rare.
But that would backfire on him anyway. And don't you have to have been given a prison sentence of a certain amount of time to be recalled to your constituency?
And I think usually MPs, if they've realised they've done something wrong, they tend to resign first.
Well, but what happened? But what happened was they tried to get a recall on Boris Johnson. That's why he stood down as an MP. But you might be right. It would
just strengthen him. He'd be well up for it. He'd just win with a landslide.
I think everyone's got to be a bit careful looking into this now, because, as you said, it's very nuanced. But at any rate, I think Angela Rayner's been involved in tax affairs. Farage has been, talked about as this sort of £5 million. We need someone that can actually bring that purity and that consistency back into politics. And I think the people are fed up. So it'll be interesting to see who Reform will field in as a candidate. I think they're drawing up a list now.
Well, it could be, what was his name, the guy that stood in Gorton and Denton and didn't...
Matt Goodwin.
Would they use him or maybe not?
I don't think so, but...
So who would you think they'd put in?
Well, they've now got councillors. Yes. I was having this conversation the other day. We were talking about who would be the candidate for Lee. There's a newly elected councillor in the area who's a former RAF officer and whatever. So the point I'm making is, I'm not going to bother talking about that person individually. The point I'm making is, up and down the country, Reform now have people in constituencies who are councillors, admittedly only for a week, who could actually be parliamentary candidates, which is a huge step forward for them.
Indeed, and it depends. I'm sure they're deciding tonight. They're thinking about whether they should have someone local, someone who knows the area well, or whether they want to parachute someone with high profile to try and win votes. And ultimately, that would be, I think, a deciding factor who Reform.
Who would that be? High profile? Have you got any idea?
Well, I can't think of anyone on top of my head. I don't think they do either at this point.
Jeremy Clarkson. He would win if they put Jeremy Clarkson in.
Yeah, but he's a pro-European.
Is he?
Well, he was.
Even with his farm.
Well, I'm sorry, he
likes local produce.
I mean, I'd be interested to see it. They said Gary Neville might go in for Andy Burnham in mayor. So I think that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, but Reform could win the mayoral elections.
I think they would.
Well, that's the thing. You are trading seats off. For whatever you're giving up. It's a big risk. And I've got
to be honest with you. If you ask me to put tenner down at Ladbrokes, which I never do.
You're a William Hill man.
I would say to you, I think Reform will lose Makerfield to Andy Burnham, but I think they'll win the mayoralty of Greater Manchester. And of course, there is a weird bit about this, isn't there? Because if Andy Burnham does not win Makerfield, then what will happen is he'll stay as mayor of Greater Manchester. So actually, ironically, Reform won't do this. They won't do this. But they'd be better just letting him win Makerfield. In fact, the biggest funny thing they could do, which they won't do, is to not even bother running a candidate and let him win virtually unopposed.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because then it would deny him all the stuff that you said that he'd get.
That's an interesting perspective. I'll give you that.
They won't do that.
But I think they're going to throw everything at it to show that Labour is not a credible choice.
The thing is with political parties, when people say do a deal on this and do this and cheat that and whatever, they're not like that. They generally fight to win. What they do is they do it based on the polls, and Nigel Farage could never turn round to the chairman of Makerfield Makerfield Reform, whoever that person is, whoever he or she is, and says we're not going to fight this to win. That would be a disgrace. Farage would be in real trouble.
Anyway, look, we've got to take a little break here at this juncture. Mike Salem is with us. We're going through the papers. He's from the UK Country Associate.
He also did witch trials.
I told you to sort your title out. UK Country Associate at the Consumer Choice Centre. It's a real mouthful. Anyway, it's talk.
No, he's here in a personal capacity. He's a political commentator.
Oh, right, yeah, forget that. It's just Mike. Mike's just here to chew the fat about the papers. It's Andre Nash on Talk, back with more papers, and you'll call 0344 499 1000 after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is a Talk, and we've got Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and Mike Salem in here. By the way, when I told you to shut up a second ago, it was only because we were coming back from the break.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't a more general...
By the way, we found out he's an orchestral player. He plays a bassoon and violin. So any bassoon players, violin, any questions you've got,
yes.
Just give us
do you have shows the lips?
Oh well, no. That's. I think you should. The camera should go on you.
No, that's a trumpet.
It's very
Isn't
good.
that a trumpet?
That's a bit more trumpety. But maybe I'll bring my instrument.
A bassoon is like an oboe, isn't it?
Don't show us your large instrument.
Isn't it a big oboe or something?
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
So can you play a saxophone then as well? Because it's a similar thing.
I haven't tried the saxophone, but it's saxophone is a single reed, but the bassoon is a double reed. So you've got two pieces of wood together, not just.
But the buttons are the same.
They are
on
both
the clarinet, aren't they? And the sax.
Maybe yes, actually, you might be right on that.
I've never worked out why people who play the viola can't play the viola, violin, cello, and double bass.
Yeah, can you not play a viola?
It's just the same thing.
It's the bigger violin.
It's a bit bigger, and the strings are different. You can try and pick it up. I sometimes someone once threw at me a viola and said, we need someone to play the viola. Can you do that? So I've done it once.
Is there a rivalry between all the string instruments?
Well, I think there's a joke. I think there are some jokes between them, but.
The cello and the double bass. You look down on you see the double bass player sort of lumbering.
Like who's known as the hardest one? It can't be the viola person. It's got to be the double bass.
I think the double bass because he's got the beefiness and the agility.
I think they're all lovely. I mean, I wish I can learn them all, but I think the trickiest traditionally has been the violin.
The harp's better.
Harp is interesting as well. Yeah. But it's very expensive, and you have to take it with you everywhere you go.
Get it on the bus.
That's going to be very tricky because if the bus breaks harshly, then that's your instrument gone.
People, wouldn't you?
So what's the biggest orchestra, like 70 or what you've played with, and what's the feeling like when you're all amazing musicians playing together?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, we've had the opportunity to play in the Albert Hall, and that was great. We've had different orchestras coming together, playing together, and it's surreal.
Do you get into this sort of telepathy with the conductor and the other people? Do you get this feeling of almost a sort of ethereal?
Oh, it's a wonderful thing, music. It's it is a universal language, and wherever you're listening to it, there are some composers that are always so classic in the way they portray emotions, and it's just magnificent.
It makes a big difference, doesn't it? I used to see Simon Rattle as a kid, and when he was...
Who was Simon and why did he
was
rattle?
The CBSO, the Birmingham Orchestra. Have you ever played the Birmingham Symphony Hall?
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
It's a proper symphony.
I wouldn't bother with that. Not whilst Manchester's got a place.
But whether it is classical or whether it's pop or modern, music has this, and British music has been so great at exporting itself as well. You look at Oasis, you look at the Beatles, it's incredible. And
because when you go to other countries, it's very whiny, the music, isn't it? I mean, all that sort of rubbish.
In this country, from the 1700s up to the First World War, there was a triennial festival in Birmingham that was massive.
Don't stop pushing Birmingham.
No, I'm just saying it was like a worldwide. It was a worldwide.
But this is the thing now with all this bureaucracy.
Hey, by the way, if you thought Syria was bad, don't touch Birmingham.
No, Birmingham's sort of not very good, is it, anymore?
Well, I think it needs to be better run.
The Symphony Hall is, though.
Yes, I think it needs to be better run, and I think now with the elections, with Labour losing majority, we shall see.
I thought Asher had the better idea. Rather than spend all that money on HS2 to get the trains 20 minutes closer to Birmingham, he said, why don't we just knock down Birmingham, move it 20 minutes closer to London and start again? Did you not say that?
I don't think so.
You should become a minister.
My star in Birmingham.
You should become a minister.
I'd like to become mayor of Birmingham. I'd make a good mayor. I've got a history there.
Well,
a lot of ideas.
Yeah, the thing that baffled me with HS2 is if they cared so much about the north, why didn't they start building it from the north?
Yeah, they don't.
But,
they don't. In fact, actually, people in places like Makefield...
People make a lot of money
People in places like Makefield do get quite annoyed about this. There is a huge advantage to HS2, but that advantage is to make the West Coast Main Line a stopping service, so it can stop at places like Tring, Berkhamsted, all these places in between London and Birmingham. There is no business case whatsoever for HS2 for the North, because in reality, the problem is our trains, if you think about it, go from London Euston, and their first stop may be Crewe, but often the first stop is Warrington. So they go straight from the south to the north, but that means they can't have local services in between London and Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's what HS2
It's
is
just like trains
solve.
off the track rather than speed and have more, less congestion.
And you've highlighted the issue that I've always advocated for, which is the problem is not getting to London. You can get to London. It's you trying to get from Newcastle to Liverpool, for instance.
Exactly.
That's the pain. The cross-rail infrastructure is terrible because you've got to take 2 trains, a bus and whatever, when actually we should connect the north a bit better. And if you do that, you will unleash this economic powerhouse.
Absolutely. The irony is, there is a train from Newcastle to Liverpool. It's one of the only cross-country trains of its nature. It takes 5 hours, which is utterly mad, and it goes through Newton-le-Willows, which I think is the nearest train station to Makerfield.
Well, interesting. But funny enough, that's quick. In that case, it's quicker to get to London and then go back up again.
Yes.
Which is insane.
Have you ever seen the trains? Some of the trains they got, the poor northerners, they're just buses where they cut the wheels off them, but they literally
the Pacers.
Yeah, that's what you northerners get. I shouldn't laugh because we have luxury.
Yeah, so just to be clear, what a Pacer is,
air conditioning.
I don't know if they've still got Pacers in operation, but a Pacer literally is a National Express coach that they cut the bottom off. I'm not joking.
Railway wheels on.
And they got a freight carriage and cut the top off it and put the coach on top of the freight.
And the northerners thought that was luxury. Anyway,
it was luxury.
Andre, it was for them. Yeah, they used to have to run like the Flintstones underneath. At least they didn't have to do that anymore. It's Andre and Ash, and we're talking to Mike Salem, going through the papers. Give us a ring, 0344 499 1000, and we'll ring you back if you're a bit, of a skinflint. And you can send us a voice message on WhatsApp. Don't forget, on the same number. Who's on after us if you're listening in the morning? Is it Mark Dolan? Yes, it's going to be Mark Dolan.
Oh, you've done that. It's becoming tiresome.
0344.
It's almost as bad as my impersonation of the King.
Thanks to Ash and Andre for a marvellous show, but ours going to be much better. We're going to Dolan, it's me, Mark Dolan, the King, after Andre and Ash. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Get out. We'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
I shouldn't worry about it. They'll definitely let you in now. Oh, sorry. This is the Late Show. This is the press preview with Andre Walker, Ashley Gould, and Mike Salem. We're only joking. Only joking. Right, let's go to.
Let's have a look at the Soar Away Sun. Burnham in fight for number 10. Yeah, bruised PM won't block bid. Andy Burnham was last night facing a brutal fight with Nigel Farage as he launched a bid to seize number 10. The left-wing mayor of Greater Manchester aims to run for the seat of Makerfield after the sitting Labour MP agreed to step aside.
I mean, the sitting Labour MP, by the way, who was going to lose.
He was going to let go anyway, wasn't
and
he?
Also, he was in trouble for spying on Times journalists.
Yeah.
And his own MPs. His own colleagues.
So he was out. He was going to go anyway, wasn't he?
What that was is Josh wants a peerage. Right.
Well, this is what I thought, being kicked upstairs. But, Starmer could have done the funniest thing and appointed Burnham to the House of Lords and put him as Health Secretary.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
However, the rules are different now. Once you are summoned to the House of Lords, you can now refuse. You couldn't refuse before. You've got up to 12 months to refuse it.
But then, if he refuses it, Starmer can say, well, I tried to bring the Labour Party together, and this man is obstructing our mission.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So apparently, literally, you get a bang on the door, and they go, His Majesty has sent you this, and it's a box with your summons.
Is it a man in stockings and a wig?
Can you imagine?
A big rod at the door.
Can you imagine literally going, have it back?
Yes, I don't want to. Thank you very much.
Didn't Farage?
They never offered him.
But they with word that they and he said, I will not accept it, so they didn't offer it. So.
He said that he would not accept it after it was absolutely guaranteed they weren't going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Well, no, he said I won't accept it now. He was offered it after the referendum, and which he would have taken it then. But anyway.
Yeah.
Here we go to Daily Mail. God help us all. Day 2. Labour's great pretenders, and there they are, streeting quits. But number 10, mocks failure to get votes to challenge PM. That is a bit of an embarrassment, isn't it? Because he didn't get anywhere near the 81 or whatever.
Yeah, I love that, Mike.
Embarrassing.
We've definitely got the numbers. We just don't feel we should deploy them yet.
Jimmy Hill.
Yeah, Jimmy Hill. Yeah.
Something smells fishy.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Wes Streeting doesn't have the numbers, does he?
No, and I think he only did it so he can trigger something, and I think he messed it up. I think he didn't even do it properly, and that's the problem with Labour. I don't think they know how to get rid of a sitting Prime Minister. The Tories have experience.
Well, they haven't got someone to challenge because they all left when Corbyn was in town, but also Streeting, he doesn't have that look, does he? Of a prime minister. William Hague, he suffered from not having the right. You do have to look right, especially since the age of TV.
It was a curious decision to go to the King. To go to Starmer the day before the King's speech. I mean, they're saying, I don't believe this, by the way, the vellum takes 2 days to dry. Therefore, if Starmer had resigned, they couldn't have printed a new King's speech in time.
Yeah, right.
Yes, they could have. You don't have to do it on vellum. And I'll tell you why. And by the way, I've had arguments with journalists before. One journalist told me I was wrong about something, and then the following day, in his newspaper, he printed, here's a fact that most people don't know, and quoted me without my name. But anyway, let me tell you something. Under the reign of Queen Victoria, sometimes she didn't bother turning up herself many times. Sometimes she sent a letter, sometimes she sent the Prince of Wales. There could have been a new King's speech. But anyway, Streeting just lacks competence to try and unseat him the day before the King's speech, because how would you do that? It's just weird.
No. And,
he saw him and then said, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll come to the King's speech tomorrow and then resign the day after.
And the King was annoyed about, being used as this political...
Well, I think it was very important not to get the palace involved in all this, I think, which is why there was an element of continuity. But I do think that if Streeting was indeed trying to launch a bid to become Prime Minister, he did not do it well at all.
I mean, there is a visual aspect. I remember I read some article that they did some tests on when Nixon and Kennedy did the debate. They asked the American public who won the debate. People that listened on the radio, they said, oh, Nixon won that debate. People who watched it on television, because Nixon he was ill and he didn't look good anyway.
He was sweating,
Kennedy was all suntanned. They said Kennedy won. So, and a bald man has never won against a man with hair. We are a fickle bunch, and, there is a look, isn't there, that you want your leaders to have.
But what does Streeting stand for, anyways? Starmer.
What does Burnham stand for? What do they? Well, I mean, Rayner.
I think you do know with Burnham, because he's got track record in Manchester.
Have you seen the state of Manchester?
Well, I agree, but I think many people think he's done a good job there, and that's for them to decide.
He hasn't had the criticism, really.
But
I mean, I tell you,
have you seen Piccadilly Square?
Hang on. Let's clarify this, because I think it's an important point to make. Here's what I think is the difference. Sadiq Khan is a see you next Tuesday. We're just going to be completely open about that. But he has 70 press officers working for him. The reason people hate Sadiq Khan is not because of the failure to deliver Crossrail on time. It's not because of the financial incompetence. It's not because of the knife crime explosion. It's not because of the way that housing associations have discriminated against white people. All of that he's got away with. The reason people hate Sadiq Khan is he's deliberately provocative to people he doesn't like and picks fights constantly. Now, Burnham is a guy who personally is the opposite of that. Right, so Burnham has probably been almost as bad as Sadiq as Mayor of Greater Manchester. He's not as bad as Sadiq. Sadiq couldn't run a bath, but
he's done it in a pleasant way.
But because he's not been nasty, people think he's absolutely marvellous. The achievements of Andy Burnham actually are comparatively small. But
their police force was put into special measures. You got Piccadilly Gardens. We've got it's Greater Manchester. Look at the grooming rape gangs. I mean, it's not exactly amazing up there, is it?
Exactly. You go. Okay, let's compare the two big mayors. They're not the only mayors. The two big mayors, Sadiq Khan and Andy Burnham. Andy Burnham's done better. He has done a bit, but actually, fundamentally, the only reason he doesn't get the criticism that Sadiq gets is because he's not a knob.
Yeah, I think Sadiq as well suffers from what I was going to say Streeting suffers too. I mean, the lack of values, what do they actually stand for? Starmer, he prioritises international law. He's a lawyer. He cares about those things. He's got his guiding star. I think with Burnham, you can argue that he actually does believe in sort of left-wing principles in the Labour Party. But I think, Streeting is just a pragmatist. So is Sadiq Khan. It's all about how the news headline looks like.
Isn't that with Streeting, the thing that's similar between Streeting and Starmer is, we are better people than you, therefore we should run the country. Do you not think that's their fundamental view? That Streeting just believes he's got a moral superiority?
I think there's a sense, many politicians do have a sense of entitlement, and I think that would be apparent on both of them, especially with Khan trying to push particular messaging in London. And they've got to be careful because actually a good mayor, a good leader is someone who leads by their principles and values.
But I always say about Sadiq Khan is very unusual amongst politicians. Most politicians want to bring people together. Even Nigel Farage, who's seen as quite a divisive thing. Well, actually, go for it. Watch Tommy Robinson. Even Tommy Robinson tries to be conciliatory with people. He goes, I'm very concerned about Muslim gangs. That's not all Muslims or whatever. Sadiq Khan is the opposite. Sadiq Khan's interest is creating division and hatred. That is what he gets off on. And if you looked at, the classic example is the congestion charge in Bromley. Sorry, the cleaner air, whatever it is. He brought it in because he just wants to fight with the people of Bromley. That was it.
Yeah.
There wasn't any real purpose to it. And you see that continually throughout Sadiq's career. He loves division. He loves hatred. He loves the othering of people. I've always said that the number one thing with him is Mum must have loved him very much, because you get the sense with him that maybe he's got a load of sisters or whatever, that as a toddler, when he had his tantrums.
Well, imagine him as a toddler.
When you can imagine as a toddler, when he had his tantrums, his mum would apologise to him, and I think he's always got the idea that if he shouts at somebody long enough, they'll just ultimately thank him and give up.
Do you think his mum went, "Where's the the chocolate biscuits gone?" And he went, "Right, I haven't seen any. I don't know anything about any chocolate biscuits. I don't even know what you mean. What do you mean chocolate biscuits? I don't know." That's sort of where he learned it.
It's funny actually. The thing is about Sadiq Khan though. You can imagine though, he'd never beat anyone in a fight. Like he'd be the sneaky one, wouldn't he? Yeah. Hanging around with the big lads, just trying to
get him.
What was it that comedian said? Hanging around with the bullies, laughing at their jokes. Being the little man. That would be him.
Yeah, but him. I'm sorry to say his record in London was terrible. You look at the 20 miles per hour. You look at the ULEZ congestion charge expansion. He just made
the denial of the grooming gang that he like the chocolate, but he didn't know what they.
Do you know that guy? That guy from the New Statesman, who's his biographer, who's got a chin like a banana. What's that guy? George something or other. New Statesman political commentator. He came to meet me because I'd been at Sadiq's election count in 2010, and Sadiq had literally made up a completely fictitious lie that the Conservative candidate had been racist towards him. It absolutely wasn't true. Right. They hated each other, hadn't said anything to each other. But what he did say to me was, he said, and this was Sadiq's own biographer, he said to me in private, the reality is the man can't do the job.
No, TfL is running at £450 million plus deficit each year. We're not doing anything about fare dodgers.
No.
Many people feel they are being treated
unfair. Do you see the fare dodgers regularly? I see them every time I travel.
You know what they do here? They go up to the guy who presses the button, and the guy just opens the door for him now.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Khan's way of running London, is that it creates an unfair society because people feel they're paying God knows how much.
Just a few £1,000 a year.
Indeed, it's the cap has gone up to what, 16, 18 pounds a day now. You know, you're paying that much daily, and some guy's just dodging it every day.
So Asher thinks I'm wrong about this, but I think that the revenue enforcement people are racist, because I've got to be honest with you, black kids walk up, they let them through. White kids have lost their ticket and they grab them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Is
it feels racist.
Because you try and be honest.
White kids, they normally let them through.
Do they?
Well,
I mean, the problem is, if you try and be honest, they might see us an easy prey. You know, if I say, I'm very sorry, I lost my ticket, what do? You just try and be an honest, upstanding citizen. Well, they'll
have you.
They'll tell you, yeah, you're sorry, you've lost it. You're going to have to buy another one. But if you don't actually say, I'm very sorry, I lost my ticket, and you just bump the gate. Yeah. They're not going to do anything.
I'll tell you what I do.
That's why the sense of unfairness comes from. Because
if you go and go, let me through, they go, oh yes sir, yes, we'll let you through, because they don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, why should I do right?
That's how I do it.
Exactly, but sadly we have to.
Do you know what I do whenever I see a third dodgy but goes through the barrier? I point at them and shout, thief, thief, scumbag, thief, scumbag, and I just walk along with them shouting scumbag, thief at them. And I'll tell you what, I think it upsets them.
Does it work? I was going to
say. It doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. Well,
it makes them feel bad.
I just wonder
embarrassed.
I think the reason why I do it is because if we all did it, can you imagine?
They don't like being embarrassed and being called and someone calling them a thief. They don't like it.
I think it depends on people. I think some people sadly have lost complete sense of morality of what's right and what's wrong, that they'd be willing to commit crimes.
But if I don't let you away with it, I mean, if you think about it, what is, acceptable and unacceptable behaviour varies from society to society, right? If you do not tell people what is unacceptable behaviour, how are they supposed to know? Particularly, and maybe this is it, and particularly if you're from a migrant family that come from a country where rules are not as rigorously enforced as in Britain.
No queuing, for instance.
Well, you said that.
Well, it's like Giuliani and the broken windows policy. You've got to smash the small crimes and it stops the big ones. Anyway, we've got to take a little break here. We've got Mike Salem in going through the papers. It's Andre and Ash on Talk, back in 2 minutes.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a press preview in what is becoming one of the most important weeks in modern British politics. Obviously, the King's speech. Also, what is going to happen with Keir Starmer? Will he resign today, being Friday, or will he continue? Do you know what he reminds me of?
What?
He reminds me of the Terminator. Do you remember the end of the Terminator film when you know you thought it had been killed, and then the dust
reforms.
the dust in the first one, the dust clears and the hands, and you see the eyes going, and then it gets blown up again, and you still see
Change.
You see,
Change.
the
grown-ups are here.
The reality is, he believes
The Starminator.
the Starminator.
Exterminator, yes.
He believes.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer, it appears to me, he believes that he is a better person, and if every process is properly organised, then and you staff the process with good people, politics will emerge from that.
But doesn't he, you know, he must realise everyone hates him.
He's a barrister. He's got that methodical thinking, and which is why it's so hard to brush him off, because barristers just won't quit till you defeat them in argument.
Yeah.
So if it means a vote of no confidence, I think he may well say, well, fine, if you want to have a vote of no confidence in me, go to Parliament and call it.
But why? But I've asked this before, Mike. What is it that he thinks he's doing? Does he go to bed at night thinking, I am a real success? I'm doing phenomenally well. I get the impression that he just wants to be Prime Minister because he couldn't think of anything better to do.
Well, I think
now that's full credit to him, because it's quite hard to do that. But I don't get the impression that he thought, I want to do something here.
The thing is, it hasn't been that hard to do that. That's the thing now. Politics, it's not that hard to get. He wasn't a great man, a great thinker. He's just become Prime Minister by being a boring man and following process.
And I think he goes to bed thinking, okay, he's not doing the best job, but he's in there preventing someone else arguably worse. And his argument is, if I'm there, I'm sort of at least.
Doesn't he's the worst-rated Prime Minister ever. So, I mean, he must look at that, and he knows he can't go out in public because everyone sings.
Now, Mike, we're going to have to
criticise.
criticise you on something.
Go on.
Going to have to criticise you.
Yeah.
Right.
What's he done?
Look at the little screen. You can't lean back in your
but
chair.
no, he's
and
not
then
moving.
I see. I'm enjoying myself.
The problem is
cameraman.
we've got a cameraman going, where is he sat? Where is he sat?
Well, I'm still stationary. I'm still sedentary.
Okay, I just want to ask
Like
you.
Starmer, I'm not going anywhere.
Front page of the Sun. Top Gear is coming back. Do we care?
Is it? Oh yeah, Top Gear, we go again. Yeah, no, Top Gear finished when Clarkson punched the man for not making a steak, and rightfully so, because the other day I had to have just sandwiches all day, and I understand why he got. Well, you shouldn't ever punch your producers, especially not our one. He's quite. I've
never tried to punch a producer. I've tried to punch a fellow presenter.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, no, I didn't. Huh? We had an argument, and the producers split us up.
Oh.
Who was that?
In studio.
I
I've mentioned loads of times. Everyone's going to be able to guess.
Well, nothing beats the heated Arabic debates. I don't know if you see them on YouTube.
Oh yeah, they properly
flip tables.
They properly chin each other.
At least you get a winner at the end of it normally.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, and I think the presenters do stuff on purpose to add fuel to the fire. So
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. One of the big problems about the Middle East is it's too bloody hot to not have a cold beer. That is the problem. Yeah. That is the problem with a lot of Muslims in the Middle East. It's too bloody hot to not have a cold beer.
Or a good glass of arak. Have you tried arak?
I have that. That's spirit.
Really good. Yes,
that's
it's
powerful
licorice.
stuff.
Very nice. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
it grabs you by the. It really does.
Yeah, it's too. I mean, the reality is, you can't even say to them, look, go out for a beer together and calm it down. Let's go out for a lassie together. Nobody's gonna go for that.
Well, they go out for a shisha.
Go out for a shit, but it's not anything good though, is it?
Depends where you go.
Yeah, well, neither's drinking, but we still do it. It's great.
Yeah, but drinking will calm you down and make you. Well, at the end of the day,
so will a shisha if you go to the right place.
Oh.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, look, who is it? Because there's always sort of dark horse who we don't know. Is there anyone?
Al Kearns.
Is there an MP who's going to come through?
Al Kearns.
Al Kearns, you think?
No, I don't think. I know that he's interested in the leadership. Former army officer. He's written in the New Statesman what I would do if I led the country. Subtle, right?
I think he might be trying to get Secretary of State for Defence for whoever the next Prime Minister is. I think that's what he's positioning himself as. So if I'm John Healey, I'd be concerned what my future would look like. Now, nobody's been talking about Shabana Mahmood. I don't know why.
Except for the fact that Maurice Glassman said she's the only person who understands what the Labour Party should become.
And that's interesting because Blue Labour is a voice that I think the Labour Party needs to hear from. That's probably their best chance of trying to salvage.
But Labour now is interested in, as I say, LGBT, transsexual agenda, uncontrolled immigration, membership of the European Union, you know, big business, all the stuff that their voters hate. That's what they love now. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to try and change and get elected in places like your Brightons and Wandsworths and places like that, where there is at Sheffield Hallam, where you've got these public sector workers who love all that, love all diversity training days and all that sort of thing.
But then that would be encroaching on the Lib Dem territory, and I wonder if there are enough seats to try and salvage that.
Well, there aren't. But if unless the Labour Party wishes to appeal to working class people, they're not going to win anything.
And I think that's what they're going to have to swing for, which is why I think Shabana Mahmood can be a candidate, because she might come across strong on immigration, she might come strong on some social values. So she might be a contender, but she's been very quiet, maybe suspiciously quiet.
Exactly, yeah. It sort of says everything, doesn't it? Who's your money on?
I think Starmer's going to stay, to be honest.
You think so, yeah?
It's just, I don't see any credible opposition. And
Miliband's finished now.
He's awful.
He's already lost an election. How can he be?
But Miliband is just, he lost an election already. That would be a great betrayal of public trust.
He would nail the poor of this country to the desk with his net zero.
Indeed, that's the problem. Fundamentally, we need someone who appreciates the need for energy independence.
He's doubling down on it. All the other countries that were like him have gone back on it and are pumping gas and oil, and he's still sticking down.
Still not drilling, which is
a lunatic.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't hear anything about that in the King's speech, which was a shame.
No, we did. The energy independence bill, they didn't mention it will ban fracking and Nazi oil.
Well, they didn't. They didn't mention any active engagement. They said energy independence, which I very much welcome. I think we need it. But the only way to do it is to accelerate nuclear and to accelerate drilling. Yeah. And they haven't. They've encouraged.
No, it does nuclear. The opposite. The energy independence bill will guarantee we are not energy.
But also, it's Miliband again pouring concrete because he's banning future. Obviously, they can overturn the law, but he's making it law anyway. If you're listening in the morning, Mark Doran's next. Hi, I'm annoying Andre right now. Thanks to Andre and Ash for a great show. Right, we're back in the evening at night time. So yeah, anything to say? We've got a minute left. Any your final?
This is your final thought. Now, this is your first press
like
preview.
Jerry Springer.
So you used to be listening to the early breakfast. You used to be talking to the early breakfast show on Friday and the late show on Thursday night. You're now only talking to the late show. So what do you want to tell them that you weren't willing to tell the breakfast people?
30 seconds.
Well, I just want to say, you know, trust your guts. You know, the public, believe in your principles. Vote for the people that you think are going to represent you. We can collectively do great things, and you know,
ironically, it's the message that Tommy Robinson's saying. Everybody needs to vote.
Like peas in
we need engagement. You need to go out there and make your voice heard, because doing it peacefully is far better than doing it violently.
Something that you would know as a Syrian.
Indeed. Let's not burn our country down, and let's actually sit down together. Vote on the things that we want.
That's a nicer thought than people.
Thanks, Mike. That's Mike Salem. We're going to be all your calls 03444991000.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Talk more economics to get the economics.
Mike went out live. Okay.
Mike stayed because, you know, he just thought he's benefit from our nice coffee and eating, so he's going to stay and take
Okay, look, we would love you to call if you are from Makerfield. We'd love you to call if you are a former Labour voter who might come back if Starmer leaves, if Wes Streeting gets in, or any combination thereof. 0344 499 1000. Really slow on the calls today. We've got 6 available slots. which means if you call now, you'll definitely get through. By the way, hello to Edward in Salt Lake City, who says that Starmer has had his knighthood. He now wants a peerage. No, I think we want to give him a peerage. He doesn't want to have it quite yet. All former prime ministers are offered a peerage. They used to get an earldom, by the way, which Margaret Thatcher was keen to bring back, as you can imagine. The country was not keen because it would have involved Mark Thatcher getting an earldom.
The Queen stopped Tony Blair getting one, didn't she?
No, they were bothered about his Order of the Garter. No, it's Brune that she didn't give Order.
Well, no, but she didn't like that he got rid of the Royal Ship Britannia. That was very upsetting for her.
Yeah. Do you know he didn't even know he'd got rid of it until it was announced? Tony Blair. Right, do not do that again. Mike, has Mike got his ears in?
I think I've got my ears
Turn
in.
round.
Yeah,
turn your head.
Am I in?
Yeah, they're in there, yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah. Well, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hear it.
Okay,
I can hear myself as well.
Let's talk to Roy in Hampshire. Roy.
Roy and Bungie.
Roy.
They're the wrong way round.
Roy.
Hey, lads, how are you?
All right, yeah, how are you, Roy?
I'm all right, mate. I thought it was wonderful that the old king went up to Golders Green today to saw the Jewish people.
Yeah, it's what they're all about. It's what the royal family's all about, isn't it? And it really, instilled a bit of confidence in the community.
Yeah, it was wonderful, mate. But there's one thing, mate. Miliband, he's supposed to be a Jewish fella.
Yeah.
When all these troubles go on about, what's happening to the Jewish people, he never stands up to be counted. You never hear him say anything to, promote the Jewish people, to help them. He doesn't do a thing.
Well, God punished him when he ate that bacon sandwich.
But Melanie Phillips was saying, I think it's a reasonable point, there's always been people throughout the history, throughout the history of the Jewish faith, the Jewish race, whatever you want to call it, who are self-hating Jews, and some of the biggest cheerleaders for anti-Semitism have been people of Jewish descent, and she includes Zach Polanski in that.
He's a lunatic, mate. God help us if he ever got in.
Yeah.
Well, he can't because he's not registered to vote. Did you see
he didn't
that?
vote. Yeah, he didn't vote.
No,
himself.
not registered to vote.
Not even registered. Said for security reasons.
Because he lives on a boat, doesn't he? He does.
Yeah, well, I did.
Of course, he lives on a boat. Him and his fella burping and farting at each other all night on the boat. Vegetarianism.
I pulled a plug out.
I've got to be honest with you. That little boat and a vegetarian diet, I bet it was filth in there.
Well, I bet it moves fast.
Absolute filth. I was like,
So who do you think, Roy? Who do you think's going to be the next prime minister? Do you think it'll still be Starmer? Do you think he'll just cling on by his finger?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, mate. What have you got? You got a lady there's a bit. I would call her a slapper.
I don't know who you're talking about there, but
You've got a nutcase who's Miliband.
Yeah.
Who have you got?
Don't
mate?
have you go at streeting because I know what you're going to say. Yeah. Right.
Well, he bats for the other side, mate. So
well, I knew you were going to mention that.
Yorkshire? I think, mate, I wouldn't mind you seeing there is that. What's his Al something or other? The guy.
Al Kearns.
Al Kearns.
Yeah, the ex-Royal Marine.
What made me laugh about that, Roy, was you went, well, one of them's this, one of them's that. And then he stops at Wes Streeting thinking, how can I say this? And we all know what he's about to say.
There's nothing wrong in any of those, being any sort of those.
Under the end of those, he's not very intelligent.
She's given up vaping, she's given up smoking.
Given up vaping?
Yeah. It's a very tricky week. That's the worst week probably to give vaping.
Did David Cameron ever give up smoking?
No, he loved it. Nick Clegg, he was a big smoker as well.
Was he?
Yeah, I remember I used to have fags with him when he used to come in to talk in the old days on the veranda. But
he used to be able to.
He used to ponce fags. Didn't even have his own fags, Nick.
Yeah, that's because they can't go into a shop and buy them. That used to happen with David Cameron.
Yeah, that's their
excuse.
He used to
go, I don't want to go into a shop and buy cigarettes because
just send your man to go. Send your man
have a go at me for being a smoker.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, they've been pushing legislation to make it harder for everyone else to smoke, and it's so hypocritical and ironic. Taxing the working man. It's a £16.
They don't even know how to pay for things. Do you remember when
Sunak?
Sunak, the petrol thing. He didn't have any idea.
Yeah. Do you remember when Charles Kennedy voted for the smoking ban, and when it came in, got into trouble on the overnight sleeper because he was
Yes.
drunk, and he had a fight.
Yeah, he didn't care. He said, "Oh, I don't care," and good on him. But yeah, do you remember Sunak? And he was going, "Yes, this is my Ford Fiesta." Like one point, yeah, we knew that wasn't your car, Eve. He didn't even. He went to the wrong side for the petrol thing as well.
By the way,
Roy, you still there, Roy?
My favourite.
What are you doing? Chip in.
My favourite thing was me and my mate got the overnight sleeper to Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Do not get it. It's horrendous. Right, we didn't realise. We thought they let you sleep. Right, so we're in the buffet car, which closes when the last person leaves. So we left at 2:30 in the morning. Right, didn't realise they get you up at 5:30. 5:30, right? Yeah. So we'd been told by Farage that if you smoked out the window of the sleeper car, nobody cared. I was a smoker in those days. Well, they might not have cared about Nigel Farage doing it, but trust me, they cared about me and Raheem Kassam doing it. We got into real trouble. So they told us, he said, go to bed now or we're going to throw you off the train. We got bounced up and down for 3 hours, and that we were in separate beds, obviously. I wasn't having a thing with Raheem Kassam, right? But we got bounced up and down for 3 hours, got to Edinburgh, and they threw us out at 5:30 in the morning or something. Oh, I'll tell you what, we had to book a hotel immediately and go back to bed. Absolutely destroyed. Anyway, Roy, your thoughts?
Yeah, anything else, Roy? You just sat there silent, Roy. Come on.
Oh, shit, I can't get a word in edgeways with you lot, mate.
We'll leave you a gap. Here you go. Away you go.
Listen, with this A1, why can't we bring Maggie back?
Hey, well, dig her up, dear. We need to dig up Margaret.
It's Cloner.
Dig her up.
No, getting back to the old king today, mate, he's really gone up in my expectations.
Oh, well, I think it really has shown the importance of the monarchy, hasn't it?
It has, mate. You know, I miss my old queen. I can't get it out of my head that she's gone, but old Charlie did a good job today, mate.
Thanks, Roy. Let's go to Steve in Walsall. Steve.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Starmer, he must be deranged because he's been quoted as saying he's not going to step down. He wants to look after the future of the country. Yes. Number one, what future has this country got? What they've done since they've been in power.
I know, he says he wants to stop chaos. He's caused chaos.
Anywhere else in the world. When the highest taxed in the world, I've got friends of mine that have finished in business because they can't afford to open the doors.
Do you know what the tax rate is in Russia?
And everything I'm paying.
No, the tax rate is. Do you know what the tax rate is in?
Steve, do you know what the tax rate is in Russia?
You what?
Do you know what the tax rate is in Russia?
It's more than this country. I know.
No, I don't think it is.
13%.
It used to be 4% this country in Nelson's era, and that's when we had serious wars and stuff. 4%.
Yeah, well, income tax was meant to be temporary.
Yeah, it's meant to be a temporary.
It is temporary.
Thing.
It has to be voted through every year.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
58 years ago, my late mother said to me, "You're coming up to voting age now, and so I'm telling you, no matter what you do, never vote Labour." I says, because they're no good. They'll take all your money off you and waste it. Now, I've had all these years to study the Labour Party, and my late mother, was she right? Yes, she was, because they're no good.
Did you vote Tory in Walsall?
Me? No. I stopped voting because I hadn't got much confidence in the Tories either. But
what a surprise! Because they've not been sparkling, have they?
I mean, what would you vote for, in the future? Have you got new ideas that you'd vote for?
Well, I've got to give Reform a chance, ain't I? I mean, what is the matter with Starmer? All these by-elections, I mean, Reform swept aside, and he's still saying that he's right. The trouble is with him, he thinks he's the only one what's right and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah, it's like a bit like a sociopath, isn't it? They can't. They've got no self-awareness.
Yeah, I love that. I take full responsibility. Sorry, no, let's not do Nelson Mandela. He stands up. I take full responsibility. In what way are you taking full responsibility?
That means resign. Full responsibility means you resign.
He stands up and he says, I hear the British people who have all voted for Nigel Farage. I hear you. I'm going to be at the heart of Europe.
Yeah.
What are you hearing?
Yeah.
What are you hearing?
We are an island of strangers. Oh, no, sorry, I've been told we're not an island of strangers.
Labour voters have voted for Nigel Farage, and you have concluded that is evidence they're pro-Europeans. Yeah. I mean, it's just madness. Complete madness.
Steve?
There was a survey some months ago, the survey found that every 47 minutes, a millionaire was leaving this country with all his millions. Now, the millionaire fraternity, the tax they pay, according to it, they are responsible for 1/3 of the government's tax.
Yeah, the top 1% taxpayers pay 1/3 of the tax.
And that's what we talked about last week. The fact
give us some statistics on that. So people
We
are
pay
saying,
more welfare
people are
than
saying
taxes.
those with the broadest shoulders should bear the highest cost.
Yeah.
Explain why you believe they are already.
Well, you know, as the statistics we talked about, you know, the top 1% of income earners, you know, the ones that earn high amount of money, or over 80,000, I think actually £60,000 or
Which is
around
unusual, isn't it? You wouldn't think that would be the
which
top
is not a
1%.
lot indeed,
Yeah.
but they pay over 30% of the tax bill.
So to be in the top 10% richest people in the UK, what do you have to earn? About 50 grand?
I think so. I need to double check the current
45,
figures,
yeah,
obviously with
something like
Starmer and inflation.
Because the big problem is people think that because of the level of inflation, because of how expensive everything is in this country, because the punitive tax levels, people think that 40 grand a year isn't a lot of money, but actually it puts you easily in the top third.
Yeah, and you know, it's the sad reality. And what can a 40k salary get you nowadays?
Very little.
You can't live in London on that. It doesn't, and they don't raise the threshold, so you're being stealth taxed as well.
So indeed, that's what we call fiscal drag. So
Fiscal drag,
when your wages rise, but they keep the tax brackets the same, so you actually pay more tax, even though
Now people
just
are on
earning the
quite
same.
a low amount are in the high tax bracket when they get to you know, not that much in this economy.
so
It's absolutely shocking, because the big problem is people are out there shouting tax the rich. The reality is, in this country, what is the rich? 45 grand a year.
yeah. I mean, you know, beware what you say, because it might be you.
No, there has been a time. There has been a time when the top 10% of wage earners were rich. That time is long gone.
But then the other point, as I said, is that the rich people create business opportunities. I'd rather work for my own living than live on a handout by the government.
Yeah, but
if we're pushing people away, if we're pushing millionaires away from creating business, we are becoming an island of idle people who just sit there and expect the government to give them
because
money.
what you're saying is, what the truth of the matter is that you need to complain about opportunity. You need to say, what is my opportunity to succeed? Now, punitive taxes, high government regulation, a government inspector for everything undermines your opportunity. But what we tell people is, you are poor because he is rich. And that simply isn't true.
But the thing is, I mean, if you're saying 60 grand puts you in the top 1%, that means there's loads of people who never work and never will work who are in the top 1% of earners, just on dole money, on universal credit.
Yeah,
if you've got 4 kids and you've got a house paid for, you're on about 80 to 100 grand in London. So you're well above in the top 1% of rich people in the country being on benefits.
Wow, you can be in the top 1%.
A lot of
if
them.
you're on benefits.
I was reading, I think if you're a single mother with, I think, 4 kids and some of them have
you've got it made.
SEND, I think you are on £4,000 or £5,000 a month.
Yeah. Is that without your house?
Yeah, probably.
That's without your house. So you add that on, that's another couple of grand. So
Yeah, but-
7 grand, that's about 90 grand a year.
Yeah, but remember, Asher, your statistic, when you're talking about receiving £4,000 a month, you have to earn 7 grand a month to get
that.
4 grand a month.
And also
so
your
that
housing.
That would be 84 grand, wouldn't it?
So why, you know, people go out to work to pay for that.
So 4 grand a month would be like earning 84 grand.
So we're working hard to pay tax to make people who never worked in the top 1% of riches in this country. And on that bombshell, we'll carry on. Thanks, Steve, for that call from Walsall. We're going to be talking to John, Andrea, Robert and Paula.
But we've still got slots available. We want people to
Plenty
call
of slots. Matron, it's Talk with Andre and Ash back after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
We were slightly wrong before the break. You need to get 67,000 to be in the top 10%. But let's just be clear, if you are getting 4,000 a month in benefits, you'd have to earn £7,000 a month. You'd have to earn 84 grand a year. So you'd be in the top 7%.
And plus your housing, which is about another 25 grand a year.
Amazing. John grand. Is in Essex. John, you're on Talk.
Hi boys, what's going on? I'm not from Essex.
John from West Yorkshire, sorry.
Well, it's just down the road.
I wanted to talk about Nigel Farage, really, and his handling of the 5 million donation. I'm not really happy with it, boys, if I'm honest with you.
Why not? Didn't he deserve a gift for 27 years of campaigning for Brexit?
Well, maybe so, but, I mean, you know, if he's under the investigation and...
But he wasn't a politician at the time. Apparently.
I mean, I find it bizarre. The parliamentary, well, hang on. The parliamentary authorities are saying we want to investigate him before he was an MP for breaching parliamentary standards.
And how does that work?
Well, how can you breach parliamentary standards if you're not in Parliament?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, but I mean, you know, if it's happening, then just show us the receipts, show us the invoices, put it to bed.
Yeah, but hang on a second. But this is like the parliamentary authorities investigating you.
Yeah.
And you go, well, why are you investigating me? It was for his security. It's not a political donation. It wasn't given to a politician. I just find the whole thing completely mad.
I mean, a lot of people are saying it's going to have the Trump effect and the opposite effect.
No, what John's doing, and with respect, John, is this. You're saying, well, if they're investigating it, it must be serious. Welcome to modern Britain, baby.
Yeah.
This is lawfare.
Really? Yeah. No, not really. What I'm saying is, if they want to investigate him and he can't avoid the investigation, just show the receipts and just...
Because all they're going to do... You know what they're going to do? They're going to leak the... I mean, do you remember the investigation into Boris Johnson by the Parliamentary Standards Committee? They leaked the result before they interviewed him.
Oh, really?
They said we found him guilty, and now we're going to get him to come in to explain his guilt.
Do you not think, John, that they'll try everything to scupper Farage?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And this is just something.
No question.
This is just sort of one of the things.
I think what you're doing, John. I think your problem, and I'm not being critical of this. I think you assume that the system is far less bent than it actually is. 20 years ago, you'd have been completely right. Yeah. All they want to do is they want to go through all of his files so they can hand them over to the Labour Party, so they can find something to do him over for. And believe me, they will find it. If he did, can I tell you, if he did a hula dance at that committee, they'd find him guilty.
But don't you think, I mean, it was a disgrace that they took his security. This is a guy who's in the number one slot for becoming Prime Minister, and the etiquette is, and the security etiquette is, you give him the full security of equivalent of Prime Minister. They took it off him, and why did they take it off him? Maybe for the same reason that Trump got crappy security men. Something might happen, you know, it puts him at risk. And
he was categorised as imminent threat to life.
Yeah,
grade A.
That's the main story, I think, with this. And he had to sort his own security out.
Look, they are desperate for somebody to kill Farage, and they go, oh, well, never mind, we did our best.
Of course, let's move on, that's it,
Imagine all the celebrations on Twitter.
I'd say, right, OK, obviously, the left and all that want to sort of, throw me under the bus and sort of, jeer and point fingers, well, if it were me, I'd be like, right, there's your proof. That's it. Done.
Well, remember the story. Remember the story.
You've got nothing on me.
Remember the story about Tommy Robinson when a prison officer came in and said, "Listen, I'm ex Royal Marine or something. I'm going to come in 10 minutes. Whatever I say, do not leave this cell." So Tommy went, "What the hell?" And he said, they came back, 5 of them, and they said, "Right, the warden's moving you to A wing." And Tommy went, "I'm not leaving this cell. If you don't leave this cell, you'll be prosecuted, you'll be arrested." And Tommy said, "If you try and take me out of this cell, I'm going to fight you for it." And they went away, shut the door to the cell, and that one of the blokes came back and he said they were going to put you on the wing with the jihadis, sharing a bedroom with a jihadi. They were going to kill him.
Wow.
Fact.
That's insane, isn't it?
Crazy. That is.
Lucy Connolly had a bad time in prison as well.
My other point, just briefly, is, and I've got to say this because look, no one likes Andy Burnham up north.
No.
The king in the north has come from down south.
Yeah. That's
no
what
one
we've
thinks
heard.
that up here at all.
So you don't think it's looking good for him then
well,
to become the prime
Well,
minister?
he wouldn't win in Yorkshire.
No.
No.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I mean, just this whole king in the north business. The only people that think that are people down south.
I think that's probably right. I think that's probably right. The Labour Party's so out of touch. Also, the other thing is, when he said, we need to end a situation where special advisors are being dropped into safe seats. Hang on. You were Chris Smith's special advisor. You lived in London, and then you got Lee, which was a safe seat with a majority of 25,000.
Typical
He
hypocrisy.
was dropped in as a special advisor. And when he says that he's from the area, by the way, he actually grew up in Culcheth, which is a middle-class part of Warrington.
Mike, what do you think about Farage and this?
Well,
whole
I think
thing?
the conversation was very interesting because I think most people think £5 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
security.
we don't get £5 million. I don't get £5 million as a gift. So
do you not?
I think sadly not. Maybe you've got something in the bank, but it's a lot of money, and I think it risks putting him maybe out of touch with the people, which is why people are a bit worked up about it. The reality is we need to actually, if you're in politics, I think you need to be transparent, and I accept that it was before he was an MP, and I do believe that there's some credence there in you saying they want to release all his files so they can find something. But you have to understand...
Yeah, but there are offences of bribery.
It wasn't hidden, was it?
Hang on a second, everyone. There are offences of bribery. There are offences of misconduct in public office. There are offences of money laundering. Those are the correct offences to investigate him for. The fact the parliamentary standards are investigating him for what he did before he was an MP is literally just because it's Labour.
Well, he wasn't in public office, was he?
I agree, but I think it's a bad look. I think you have to understand, once you're into politics, you've got to be careful with how you declare things.
It's a bad look because it's not true.
It was out in the open. I remember when they said this Harborne guy had donated the party this money, so it wasn't like it was hidden. And they knew all about this.
I mean, also, the other thing is, the cost of this security is crippling. I mean, I've got it now. The protesters now want to attack me. And I'd have to take a bodyguard with me if I went out in public. You're talking about what, £300 a day per guard, 2 guards, the car £1,000 a day. That means literally for one car, you might be talking about what, £2,000 a day.
Well, and meals and hotels.
And by the way, day and night. Because they only do 12 hours, so it could be £4,000 a day.
I think security is a real issue as our politics becomes more polarised.
The state should be providing for him, shouldn't they, as a prime minister?
Well, just generally, I think politicians now put themselves at great risk, sadly. And we've had 2 MPs killed in the last 10 years.
Well, especially Farage is the most threatened MP there is. Oh, sorry, I forgot you there. Sorry, John.
No, I'll tell you what is a sad state of affairs. We're talking about, not being able to be sort of openly Jewish on the street. I think equally, you can't actually be openly right-wing on the street.
No, you can't.
Either.
No, you can't. And as Asher said, the reason that he's okay on the streets is people can't tell he's Jewish. Although I did have somebody walk up to me in Slough Tesco's who would have attacked you if you'd have been there. Mind you, you'd have probably beaten him, but he didn't look that big. But
what? You really? Where was that?
The
deli section. Where was he hanging around?
Well, he wasn't hanging around the deli section, was it? Because there was nothing he could buy there. If I'm being totally honest.
Anyway.
All right, lads. Well, cheers. Anyway.
Nice one. Cheers, John. 03444991000. Andrea in Essex. All right, Andrea. Morning.
Hello there. I'm a bit scared of being out of my depth here, but can I just make 2 points?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one is I am terrified that we are all subject to governmental social engineering.
Yeah. We are. I mean, there is department that is a PSYOPs department. Yeah. And what do you think? What's your why have you come to this conclusion now?
I've just come into the kitchen and googled in terms of physical science, both, because I know you're really bright at that stuff, but. Social engineering is a term which has been used to refer to efforts in influencing particular attitudes and social behaviours on a large scale.
Are you hands-free, Andrew? Are you breaking up a bit?
I am.
Can you pick up? Use the hand.
Okay, so social engineering is a term which has been used to refer to efforts in influencing particular attitudes and social behaviours on a large scale. This is often undertaken by governments, but may be also carried out by mass media, academia or private groups in order to produce desired characteristic and a target population. Now, I really feel, I'm terrified that I really think that since Labour came in, this is what we're being subjected to, especially now that they tried to cancel the local elections.
Now they try to stop juries and they have nudging departments. This is all what goes on now these days. What do you think about this?
I think I was going to try and get in digital IDs in some shape or form, and this has been great opportunity actually.
Facial recognition cameras.
It is. I mean, this is the slow erosion of liberty, sadly, in our country. And
Big brother.
We've had a great victory actually, convincing the government to move from mandatory to voluntary digital IDs, and that's a start. But they're planning to introduce them again. So we've got
facial recognition is effectively enforced digital ID because your face will be your.
Well, anything. I mean, banning social media for under 16s. How would they enforce that? You'd only enforce it by submitting a digital ID to prove that you're over the age of 16.
They're Trojan horse to get everyone to declare their
Sadly,
ID.
it is, and we've done a lot of work with the Consumer Choice Centre on that being a Trojan horse. But the sad reality is this is all just a backway entrance for surveillance. I mean, all your data
social
by
credit system.
Well, I mean, all your data in the hands of the government. I don't even trust the government with money spending, let alone with my personal.
They mess up their computer systems
data
all the time.
So
the problem is, as I've said previously, with your data. Look, even if you don't believe the government will spy on you, which they may well not do, they'll leave the pen drive on the bus.
Yeah.
Right? They've done that
loads of times. Look at the post office scandal. There's loads of scandals like that, where it all cocks up and, the Chinese will be trying to get into our systems. It's the more you put on, the more dangerous it is for future
Indeed,
events.
and then even if you have safeguards, it's very tricky to enforce them and make sure. I mean, if you put a safeguard, for instance, saying every citizen has the right to see what information is being held by the state, how are you able to do that? I mean, you've got subject access requests, you can FOI, but these safeguards to implement are so unrealistic at the moment, especially with the size of the government. How would you know what department is looking at?
I've got to be honest with you, when you start subject access requesting public authorities, they do not like it.
No.
They do not like it at all.
And the debanking scandal, obviously, that's where Nigel found out with using subject access.
Andrea, just a matter of interest, you said you were a bit nervous coming on the show. Look, we genuinely try in this studio to make a show that everybody can join in on. We don't think people are stupid, we just think that some people are busy.
Do you feel more nervous now or less nervous?
No, less nervous, but I just feel I don't know anywhere near as much as you both do.
Well, of course not. No, I mean, that's natural.
You do make me laugh. I love you. Before I go, I just wanted to say on Angela Rayner.
Yes.
I was born in a council flat in Coventry, family of 8, and I am much cleverer than she is.
Yeah, we can tell. Because you can actually speak English properly with the right words in order.
She's just their pet council house girl.
Yes.
Well, I'd be a much better pet council house girl, I can tell you.
Have you thought of running in the councils for any of the parties? Or
I've been asked that a couple of times, but
come on.
Seriously, I think she's as rough as a rat.
No, actually, Andrea, on a serious note, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who watch and listen to this show who've ended up as councillors. In fact, we've got no bloody callers tonight because they're all at council meetings.
You're obviously quite successful because you've gone from Coventry to Essex. All right, it's Essex, but still it's up from Coventry, isn't it? Gone up in the world.
Oh, dear me. God help me. And I also knew poverty and going without and all of that stuff. And, I mean, she got, she did a bit
She didn't go without. She got a fair bit, I understand, when she was younger.
Andrea, I would just say, if you are worried about something, take part. Don't let them win. You go out, you vote, you stand as a candidate, put your point across, put your perspective across.
And you grew up in a council house with a family of 8, they'll like that.
There are political parties now where the jobs don't just go to the usual suspects.
They need real people.
And this is the problem. We haven't been having enough candidates where they just put anyone just to fill in as paper candidates, and then they get elected and they don't actually want to be there. So we want people who are interested, who care about these issues.
I had a friend of mine who ran as a paper candidate in Windsor and defeated the council leader, and the council leader was called Mary Rose. So we always thought she'd gone down like the Mary Rose.
What do you do, Andrea, for a job? Right.
Well, I took early retirement.
Yeah.
I worked in children's services, and
okay.
it was so broken. It was so broken. And then in terms of the rape gang stuff, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you can call social workers anything in the world that you want to, but I'm telling you, those people, I know it's easy to say, but I'm telling you, they would have never got away with it on my watch.
No,
Not in a
And
million
where were you, in
years.
Essex or in Coventry? Is that where you worked?
Coventry, but not in Coventry. I work for a neighbouring authority.
Right.
But they
People
would
in
never
children's services. People in children's services tend to not live locally, don't they, for security reasons?
Yeah, absolutely. A neighbouring authority, but they would never have got away with that on my watch because I called people out. I've been in court. I've given evidence.
What about your colleagues, though? How many good people make up? How many people would let people get away with it? Would turn a blind eye?
Most of them are kids, Asha. Most of them are straight out of uni, straight into the job.
But somebody said to me when I we met the trade unions when I became political advisor at the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead, and what they said was the new computer system that Tony Blair had brought in had made it impossible to actually go and visit young people because you spent that much time filling in forms because after every visit you had to fill in a form and it took 4 hours.
But you do that in your own time. You don't get paid for that. There's no overtime. There's no, you can't even take time off in lieu. You do that in your own time. You come home and you work your socks off. But most of them are young people, mainly women, 21 to 25, broken.
A lot will be working from home now as well. Probably.
Also, are they just do-gooders who believe that because you've got dark skin, you must be an angel?
No comment.
Well, there you have it. Anyway, we've got to go to a break.
Yeah, thanks. Call us again, Andrew. That was very enlightening and a great call. It's Talk with Andre and Ash, and Mike is here with us going through the papers. We'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a late show with Odd. What are you doing?
Just relaxing, man. Just talking about glass-bottom boats.
Rather than Big Bottom Girls.
Yeah.
Isn't that a song?
What do you prefer?
That song, Big Bottom Girls.
Fat Bottom Girls by Queen, yeah.
Speaking of that, did you see Nicki Minaj complimenting Kemi Badenoch?
No, what's that?
2 days ago. Nicki Minaj, the very famous...
yeah, she's got a big bum.
Yeah, indeed.
Who is Nicki Minaj? A pop star or something?
She's a rapper, a very big one. She big songs like Anaconda, and
Anaconda, baby, Anaconda, man.
And yeah, she was very praiseworthy of Kemi Badenoch.
She's a rap singer.
I've got to be honest with you.
She says the words.
They filmed Kemi Badenoch from the back during the King's Speech debate, and I thought she was, she had a large but pert bum. if I'm being honest.
Is that one of her things, is it? In the action, rap singing?
Well, but Nikki, yes. Yeah, I mean...
It was large but blurred.
I got a big
it wasn't... Because let's be honest, everyone, we've all met girls at university who like horse riding, with those big droopy bums, and you think that's dreadful. Wow. By the way, on the subject of Kemi Badenoch, nobody hated the Conservative Party under Rishi Sunak more than me. No, actually, that's possible that there were people who hated more than me. But thanks so much. But I have to say, I think Kemi is doing quite well. Yes.
At what?
At being Conservative leader.
Very well. She's really cutting through.
All right, let's go to Terry in Dover then.
Terry. Morning,
As
Terry.
I open my can.
Terry.
Andre, Ash, good evening.
All right, morning.
I just wanted to say something quite basic and simple here. All the kerfuffle around the Labour Party and leaders and who's going to be leader, it doesn't matter who's leader. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. They lost their traditional heartland.
I completely agree.
Because people are angry about their taxpayer money being wasted on...
Oh, don't pour it like that, Mike.
They're just basically rearranging the furniture on the Titanic.
The problem is that they're the first political party to have sacked their own voters. They don't want the labour and trade union movement. They want, the university class. They want the trans, the trans...
Didn't the Tories sack their own voters? They sort of did it. That's why they were kicked out.
Yeah, I suppose so.
They're all sacking. The uniparty sack their own voters, and that's what's letting these other
But they don't like Labour. Terry is right. Labour do not like the sort of people that built the Labour Party.
Well, they hate them. They look down on them with this disgust.
The key thing is that voters are sick and tired of their money being wasted on these things. And all these people from Labour saying that, we need change. They don't... say exactly what change it is, but
no. What they're saying, Terry.
Yeah.
Terry, what they're saying is, we are right, but there are two problems. Point number one, we have not done as much. We've not done it as fast as we could have. Point number two, we failed to communicate it. Mike Salem and I had a discussion before. I don't know if you heard it. We were talking about energy security. And I said, but there was an energy security bill. Yes, but the energy security bill does the complete opposite. When people in the media are saying the only way to bring down energy bills, the only way to guarantee our security is to start drilling North Sea oil and to start fracking, Ed Miliband brings in the energy security bill that bans both of them by law.
For even next government ministers to do, although they will reverse it.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying that obviously wind and solar are the energy security.
Yes.
Even though fossil fuel, he doesn't agree with it. But
we're buying it though from Norway.
Two fields in North Sea. Rosneft is one, whatever, and the other one.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to go ahead now? I think they are, aren't they?
Are they? I thought not. I thought he's doubling down. All the other countries that were like him have backed down, but he's doubling down with.
Well, we haven't got the energy security bill in its final form. Is the honest answer, but it will certainly ban fracking, and it will ban what's described as new oil exploration.
Yeah, new ones. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know whether it will ban North Sea, but what is described as the energy security bill will prohibit those measures that would make energy security and energy independence possible.
But then it will be kicked out with the next government in 3 years.
Now, what they're saying is, they're saying that the net zero thing is brilliant. We've just failed to do it fast enough, and we've failed to explain it properly.
Yeah, but they all say that we're only 2 years in, we've got 3 years to go, give us a chance to bring these things in. But the other thing is, how are they going to do? They're not going to deal with welfare, are they? I mean, this latest thing about the
backbenchers won't allow it.
Non-clinical depression, there's so much of that. They need rigorous GP examinations.
It'll be like the 70s again. They'll just go until they fail, and we have to be bailed out. And that's what will happen.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they'll just spend until they can't spend anymore.
What do you think, Mike?
What, Dennis Healy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last week, and, the size of the state is growing at such vast rate where we are borrowing vast amount of money. And we talked about last week when someone said, well, what about bonds? Aren't they all just Ponzi schemes? Well, sadly, they're not Ponzi schemes because this is all government borrowing. This is actually real money.
And the vast majority is to pay the interest debt on the debt.
Around 10-12% of it is just to pay the debt back, the interest back on the debt.
Well, in February, it was 12 billion of the 13 billion we borrowed was to pay the debt.
But then again, why are we growing the size of the state? Because we're pushing away people who can actually create opportunities for people to actually work. And
well, you tried to knock 5 billion, which was nothing anyway, and the backbenchers revolted, so they're never going to get that through.
And then that costed more money. So it's a very poignant issue. Welfare
is a big one, isn't it? I mean, we're talking about probably doing something about that because the cost of the triple lock is enormous. But I mean, they're not too bothered about pensioners, are they? Because
we're going to have to work till we're 75, you know, and you're going to have to work till you're about 90.
Well, I probably won't get a pension. No, to be honest, I think the pension. The current pension scheme will fail in the next 10-15 years because it's just unsustainable.
I mean, it's already basically bankrupt. The amount, the money goes in when you pay towards your pension. All you're paying for is next month's pension payments.
Indeed.
That's all you're doing.
I'm sorry to say, when you know, most people think that if you're paying a pension, the government will actually put it in a bank and save it for you to retire. No, that's not sadly how it works. The government takes it and spends it on all other things.
Yeah, that's right. It's used.
Believe it or not, that's how it started. Apparently, national insurance was an insurance scheme when it was first introduced in something like 1921, or whenever it was. But the first Labour government changed it. So apparently, for 5 or 6 years, it was actually a pension fund.
But this is the thing, why don't we let people take control of their pension plans? If I want to start, you know, saving for my pension from the age of 25, 26, I should be entitled to do so on my own.
But it's exactly the same, Mike, as when we talk about redistributing wealth. They're not talking about distributing it from rich to poor or from old to young. They're talking about redistributing it from rich to government and from old to government.
Indeed.
That's what they're planning to redistribute. They're saying, as long as we tax the rich and give it to public sector workers, the poor are better off.
They're even dipping into private pensions now, saying they can take private pensions and invest it.
Yeah, it's a serious...
Whoa! Sorry! Wait, I think his heart monitor stopped. Kevin, have we got to take a little breaky, and then our lefty friend, Kevin in Basingstoke, is talk with Andre.
He's a communist.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is the Late Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Mike Salem, who has decided to co-host this segment as well. Well done.
Well, thank you. It's been great pleasure, and actually some really good conversations, and to encourage people to actually speak what they...
We still haven't had any bassoon or violin questions, because he's an expert. He plays in orchestras. Any bassoon or any other
Sadly not.
Okay, let's go to Kevin in Basingstoke, talking about playing the bassoon. Here we go. Come on, Kevin. Let's hear it.
Let's hear your notes.
Well, I disagree with everything that I've heard over the last 20 minutes, especially from Andrea. She said that she's more intelligent than Angela Rayner.
Yeah, but so was my lunch.
Yeah, everything.
They both do the same job. They both work in social care. Angela Rayner looked after a mother with schizophrenia and a seriously ill son,
who she doesn't live with.
Well, she did at the time.
No, but remember, right? Her son's like 14 or something. She sold him the house on the basis she never goes to visit him. If that was official.
Look, her son was seriously ill, and she looked after him. I mean, and also...
Yeah, but how many people, Kevin? How many people go? Look, my son's got a lot of money because of NHS medical negligence. I get that. I've sold him my house because I never go to the house and he lives in it. But you never go. No, I never visit him.
You shouldn't. I don't think you should bring your children in.
Where'd you get that from?
Well, that's what she said, wasn't it? She said, I don't live in the house anymore. I don't go there.
She does go to the house. She doesn't sleep there.
All right. She doesn't sleep in the house with her son in.
Also, she said that Labour tried to cancel the election. They never tried to cancel the elections. It was up to the councils.
No, they gave the councils. They told councils you can cancel the elections if you want. Well, come on.
Yeah.
If you're Essex County Council, give us a second. If you're Essex County Council and you know you're all going to be beaten by reform, then obviously you're going to take up Labour on cancelling the election.
You're in denial, Kevin.
Well, I mean, it would do him a favour because reform-run councils they're a right shambles.
You see, it all comes out in the end.
There was one of the guys that just won the election a few days ago or a week ago. He quit already, and they've got to have another bite.
Well, there was a guy who was an online.
He's got a conviction.
There was a guy who was an online porn star. My view is it takes all types. Let's not discriminate. And if you want to get out your wang for an audience on the internet, I'm good with that.
But then this relates to the point I'm saying. The problem is that there are so many posts to fill in, and you just put in any candidate, where actually people who are passionate about politics should go in and make a
name for himself.
The big problem is, I mean, if you look at that guy who said the reason for the flooding around Britain was gay marriage. Right, let's just be clear. That bloke was a Tory councillor when he said it, and then he defected to UKIP and got into every national newspaper because he said, UKIP councillor has said this. Right, he'd said it as a Tory councillor 6 months earlier. It only came out. So what's actually happening quite often with a lot of these people being hounded out of office, if they were Labour, if they were Conservative, if they were Lib Dem, if they were SNP, they'd be completely fine. It's only because they're Reform.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
every day you hear about stories that are coming from Reform councillors. Not just this one. It's not just one bad apple. And I don't know why people say, oh, we want a change. We need Reform UK in power. They're just a bunch of Tories. They're the same as the Conservatives.
Well, the Tories aren't. The Conservatives aren't Tories. But who would you like then as your leader? Would you like Prime Minister Rayner? Is that who you want?
And then, come on, I don't live with the town.
Who do you want as your leader? Do you want Starmer to stay? Do you want Burnham?
Nigel Farage said that he thought that Liz Truss' budget was brilliant, the best budget he'd seen since the 80s.
It was.
That was absolutely terrible.
Well, it was made terrible by the Bank of England selling the gilts.
450 billion off pensions. Mortgages went through the roof. Rents went through the roof.
Yeah, all right. But who is who is the great person who's going to lead us in the Labour Party government?
No-brainer.
Is that who you want, Angela Rayner?
It's a no-brainer.
Andy Burnham.
You want Burnham? Why do you want Burnham?
Yeah, I think he's going to make it a bit more equal. I mean, it's such an unequal country. I mean, you was talking about tax. The top 10% own 43% of the wealth, and the bottom 50% only own 9% of the wealth.
Yeah, well, that's how the cookie crumbles. Well, I mean,
actually, I want to come on that.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Kevin,
Mike.
let Mike respond.
You're right, and that's happening because of government intervention. I mean, had we actually allowed people to work and prosper and keep their own money, we wouldn't be in that position. Yeah. And markets have proven, right, time after time, they are the fairest way of exchanging things. Yeah. The problem with having a government is that when they take your money and they decide how to distribute it, and when they do so, there's a cost to it, and that would not be fair on everyone else.
Look, when you have tax cuts, it benefits the rich mainly, and poor. If you don't raise money through taxes, then poorer people they'll have poor education.
Yeah, but Kevin, the age of big government. The age of big government since Tony Blair, social mobility has decreased.
Yeah, Labour Party take the grammar schools away, which was the way working class lads could actually raise themselves and to become Prime Minister like John Major, like Margaret Thatcher. It's the Labour Party that pull up the drawbridge.
Well,
now they're all from Eton and Harrow and posh schools.
At a faster rate. It's not. There's no such thing as trickle-down economics. It's trickle-up economics.
Yeah, well, not if you kill all the grammar schools and the steps to get there.
But the reality is trickle-down economics was a joke designed to disparage Margaret Thatcher's economic policy. What she said, she didn't say that by making rich people very rich, you make the poor richer. She said economic freedom makes everybody richer. She didn't believe in trickle-down economics. It's an insult.
She believed you should buy your council house like Rayner did.
It's like if I sat there with Gordon Brown and asked him to justify the perpetual boom theory, right? Now, I've disparagingly said that Gordon Brown believed in the perpetual boom theory. That is, if you take an economic boom, borrow money, and the government borrows money to stoke further economic growth, you can create a perpetual boom. He never called it the perpetual boom theory, right? It's a disparaging comment. Margaret Thatcher did not believe that if you continue to regulate poor people, you continue to tax poor people, you continue to subjugate poor people, but create billionaires, there will be a trickle down of wealth. Yeah. She said creating economic freedom for everybody will make everyone richer.
She let people buy the council houses. Rayner was the one who bought a council house and then pulled the drawbridge up in that case.
Yes, she did. Yeah, should have given that back.
You can still buy your council house.
No, she pulled up the drawbridge. I mean, she's made it much more difficult. I think you get much less of a discount. She definitely changed it.
So there should be.
Well, she got advantage out of it.
Labour built 5 million council houses after the Second World War. Yeah. Margaret Thatcher came along and sold half of them off.
To the people living in, the working class people living in them, and they should have. She gave it to the councils, and they decided not to build them.
Because what we had discovered was this: these town planners. This is the bit that people forget about the council house sales. These town planners who wanted everybody to live in a tower block like in the Soviet Union, right? What was discovered was if you do not own your own home, if you do not have a sense of place, if you do not have a sense of community, if you cannot customise these places yourself, you have no pride in them and they become sink estates. The reason why the big estates of Moscow, the big estates of Glasgow suffer from exactly the same social problems is because of what they are. Margaret Thatcher realised you could never build a community unless people had a stake in that community. And that was buying your council house and knocking down the tower blocks. You know, if you look at Erno Goldfinger, who, by the way, was such a bad architect that they named a Bond villain after him. If you look at Erno Goldfinger's idea, which was that everybody would live in exactly the same shoeboxes in a tower block, people were jumping off them in unprecedented numbers. It's easy to say.
I like Trellick Tower, though.
It's easy now to, which he designed. It's easy now to say that the sale of council houses was a mistake because there's a lack of housing, but she wasn't doing it in order to increase the housing supply. Yeah. She was doing it to give people a sense of place.
But didn't the councils get the money to build? They were meant to build other council houses.
Yeah,
by the way, Goldfinger was Ian Fleming's next door neighbour in Hampstead Garden suburb. They didn't get on, which is why he named the Bond villain Goldfinger.
Yeah, because he built that awful house.
Goldfinger!
People can't afford to buy a house. In the 80s, you could buy a house
Hampstead Garden suburb.
3 times your wage. Now it's 10 times.
Yeah, and that's... and
we're not all lucky enough to get £5 million from a crypto billionaire to buy a house.
100%, and you're 100% right. But who was the Secretary of State for Housing over the last 3 years? It was Angela Rayner.
No.
And she failed to ease planning law. We needed to build So many houses. I mean, if we deport every single person that came to this country from 2000, myself included,
We'd be in a lot better condition.
You'd still be short of 2.5 million houses.
We wouldn't have you here.
Yeah,
but I mean, overall.
But you'd still be short of 2.5 million houses.
Yeah.
And, you know, successive governments have failed to build.
It's amazing, isn't it? Sadiq Khan's policy on immigration, if we followed it, he would have to throw 50,000 Londoners out of their houses to accommodate these people, because you get priority on the housing list if you are a refugee. OK, let's go to Paula.
Thanks, Kev. Paula in Halifax, give us a ring again, maybe tomorrow, Kev. We're on from 10. Paula.
Good evening, boys.
Morning.
Good evening, girl.
Good evening. What you two up to?
Just doing a show, like.
What do you mean, what we up to?
You're watching us.
Like, it's not my personal phone line.
Mischief again.
Yeah, well, you know, it's what we do. Anyway, another minute, please, Paula. We're going to go another minute. If you could just fill for a minute.
Come on, Paula.
Say something for a minute.
Come on.
Yes, well, actually, Ash, I was ringing up to say you look very dapper tonight.
Oh, God.
Well, no, Vanessa in makeup did my hair like this, my hair. Because I did What Just Happened. That's coming out tomorrow at 9 p.m. Me, Samara and Kev. What Just Happened?
No word from Team Menopause.
Sorry, Paula.
Andre.
Yeah.
And you're not looking too bad either.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. What about Mike? He's quite tasty, isn't he? Nice young man. Very nice.
I'm thinking when Mike, look down for a bit.
Lovely pendant.
Look down. Wow. When he looks down his page, he looks a bit like Tsar Nicholas II.
Oh.